Welcome back to Brandon's podcast. Back in 2005, 7 million pupils were enrolled in primary one in Uganda. These statistics is from the Ministry of Labor and Gender. And thereafter, 6 years, of the 7 million, 2 million were able to sit their primary 7 or primary leaving exams. After 4 years, of those 2 million, 500,000 were able to sit their senior 4 in 2015. And of those, 300,000 were able to sit their senior 6. Today we are going to evaluate Uganda's educational system, looking at where we could have done wrong and where we could make it right for the better Uganda of today and tomorrow. And with me is an expert in education. She's been teaching for some good time, an English expert for that matter. She works with UNEB and her name is Nabisubi Diana. We are glad to have you, madam. Thank you for accepting the invite. So, Madam Diana, our viewers want to know more about you. Who are you?
My name is Diana Nabisubi.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a proud mother of 2.
Okay.
And I'm a teacher by profession. And I've been teaching for a couple of years, roughly 15 years.
15 years, okay.
I've learned so many things. I enjoy being in the classroom. And I enjoy working with teachers for the better of our education system.
Okay. Thank you so much for that intro. You've been in the career for about 15 years. What could you tell about the career so far?
The career is good. I'm excited. Very many people are not excited, but I personally, I am excited.
Yeah.
That the year 2024, the child we have been having in labor for a long time,
Yes,
is yet to be born. So we're excited.
the child is yet to be born.
Yes.
I guess by the end of this video, we shall be able to know the child.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. So you have been teaching for those 15 years. It's been in Uganda.
I taught for 2 years in Tanzania.
Okay.
And I taught for 1 year in Sweden.
In Sweden.
So then I came back home.
Came back home. Okay. What was your experience out there?
My experience out there in Tanzania, the ground was, they hadn't yet transitioned to a competency-based curriculum, but the Swedes were already in the competency-based curriculum.
Okay.
So them fitting in the Ugandan system then was a challenge.
Okay.
It was more of a child-centered curriculum, yet in Uganda we had a teacher-centered curriculum.
It's a good point. The whole of this podcast is going to be about that. Where do you see Uganda's education system 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I believe we shall have a new Uganda.
Okay.
We may not have achieved it completely, but we will have achieved it at least to a particular percentage. Because right now where we are, we're in the process of transitioning from the content-based curriculum to a competency-based curriculum. And when you look at the 2 curriculums, there is a slight similarity, but the 2 of them differ greatly. Now, the education system is not meant to change just an individual. I believe we are changing the generational mindset
Generation.
for a whole generation. I
Yes.
always tell the teachers that 10 years from now, I don't think I'll be in the classroom,
Okay.
because I know we will have delivered the curriculum to its owners by then. Because
Okay.
10 years from now, our graduate who has been in a competency-based system will have graduated as a teacher by then,
Or any other profession.
or any other profession by then. So I believe the things we are now talking about will be now more applied 10 years from now. Because the rollout does not happen in one day.
Sure.
Rome was not built in one day. It took stages.
Okay.
So right now we are in the earlier stages, the
Yes.
foundations
Okay.
of the system that will be. A certain philosopher say that every country is as good as its education system.
Okay.
What we see right now is a result of the education system we have taken for more than 30 years.
And we can't change it in a day.
And we cannot change it in a day. It takes a process. And I thank God that we have started on that process.
Sure. The other writer says it's 1,000 intentions are not as good as one step. And if the step is being taken,
exactly,
it's better than 1,000 good and perfect intentions which have not been put to work. You say that they differ greatly.
They do differ.
Expound on that.
The content-based curriculum focuses on how much do I know? How much in chemistry have I covered? But it does not care to find out how much of this chemistry I can apply in real life.
My real life, yes.
The content-based curriculum makes you have knowledge about everything, but your hands are too frail to even do what you know. That is why most of the Ugandans keep on saying, government yetuyambe. Because probably they cannot help themselves. You find a person to help you pull up a nail in your chair at home. You have to find a person to help you do a simple pothole in your courtyard. You have to find a person. Yet all these things, you have learnt them right from primary.
You have the knowledge
and you have the knowledge of it.
Yes.
But you're so fragile to even put your hands down to actually do it practically.
Yes.
When you look at the competency-based curriculum,
yes,
we want to empower the mind, the heart, and the muscles.
Okay.
Why the mind? The mind is given knowledge.
Yes.
The heart is given values and generic skills. And the body or the muscles do what we are supposed to do.
Yes.
So when we train the child only the mind, we are cheating that child. Okay. Earlier on we used to say that maybe the values are taught at home. Charity, the parents will do the value part. So let the teachers do the mind part. But unfortunately, the parents are not home. Most of them are in their places of work. They're busy. And you find that the child spends approximately 220 days in a year in school.
220 days.
Out of the 364 days in the year. The child is at school 220. So out of the 220, the teacher has the child. The parent is not home, and the TV works out for the children. The TV and the internet.
Yes.
So let us put this knowledge out so that this child gets the best they could get out of the knowledge, and then they would be better people. I find it quite absurd when I find Ugandans in front of an accident scene. Instead of them helping the sick, they are recording a TikTok video. That is an indicator that they lack the value to help, the charity, the honesty. Okay. We think that maybe stealing and corruption is the order of the day. In fact, you are very normal when you steal,
And when
you're
you
quite
don't,
abnormal when you do not steal.
it's absurd.
That is lack of values. But this competency-based curriculum intends to put emphasis on the values, on the mind, and on the muscles. That's the biggest difference.
You seem to have a problem with knowledge. So what is wrong with knowledge? What's wrong
Knowledge
with
has no
passing on
problem.
knowledge? Yes.
Knowledge has no problem because knowledge is the starting point.
Yes.
Because when you give the knowledge, then the values can come and the muscles can work.
Okay.
So, but we do not want to solely emphasize only knowledge.
Yes.
That is, do you like find a difference when children who are not so bright in school, when they get out of class, they become more successful than the bright ones?
We have evidence of that, yes.
And it is so glaring everywhere. So when we tell the child who is weak in class that you're dull, you cannot do anything, that is not right. The right thing is we are all capable in all other ways. I may not be the brightest when it comes to the cognitive level, but at least when it comes to the psychomotor and the affective domain,
yes,
I can be very good. So why do we, in a content-based curriculum, we only focus on the cognitive? How much of my chemistry do you remember?
I remember.
How much of your mathematics can I put on paper?
Not what I can apply. Really.
But life is not only about what is on paper.
Sure.
Sometimes there are certain things which are not on paper. There is a curriculum which is not so much written.
Sure.
Okay? For example, even if you read 1,000 books about your marriage, your marriage can fail.
Yes.
Yet you have the knowledge. So it means not everything is written down on paper.
Yes.
There is where your hands have to be applied, and there is where your heart and your values must take charge. So that's the biggest difference.
Thank you so much. Do you think this current curriculum, the new curriculum, is more inclusive or exclusive? Does it help every Ugandan to be part, or could exclude many?
This curriculum is more inclusive than the content-based curriculum.
Okay.
The new lower secondary school curriculum caters for children from various parts of the world.
Okay.
From whichever background they come from, for whichever, even if they are special education needs learners,
they still fit in?
They still fit in this new lower secondary school curriculum.
Break that.
Because when you look at it in terms of setup, you realize that the teacher, let me start from the subject breakdown, where the children who are special needs learners, they look at general science instead of biology, chemistry, and physics. Theirs is general science. When you look at the languages, there is the incorporation of Ugandan Sign Language.
In the secondary level?
In the new lower secondary school curriculum.
Okay.
There is incorporation of physical subjects like technology and design, agriculture, whereby we have so many people who are gifted in those areas.
Sure.
Which they did also exist in the old curriculum, but they weren't emphasized like they are right now in the new curriculum. So I believe the inclusivity is embedded in the curriculum.
So would you opt for that? Okay, because we have vocational schools in Uganda, and I guess they had these values. So would we not better have more vocational schools than secondary schools, for that matter?
The vocational schools still exist.
Okay.
The vocational schools are not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the inception of the new curriculum is not attacking the vocational schools.
Okay.
Neither is it attacking their existence. We are just emphasizing. The Bible says, train up a child
the way he should live.
Exactly. That when they grow up, they may not change from it.
Okay.
We are just putting it a little earlier. That when they branch to that level,
yes,
they can do it better.
Oh, better than earlier done. Sure.
Because why do we start late? The earlier, the better.
Yes.
What we would probably advocate for, that I think we should actually start it from P1.
Yes.
From nursery school. So that we groom up a child. And I believe that's where we are going.
Yes.
10, 20 years or even more from now.
Thank you for that. So do you think it is still inclusive, looking at the financial?
At the financial bits?
Yes.
Now, I believe it's the attitude that is making people think that we need a lot of money. I recently supervised the project of a student who spent 10,000 shillings on his project.
10,000 Uganda shillings.
10,000 Ugandan shillings. That is approximately how many dollars?
$3.
$3.
Yes.
When you look at the financial state of Ugandans, at least there are some people who can afford 10,000 shillings.
Yes.
And the new lower secondary school curriculum looks at a child doing a project for over 1 year and a half.
Okay.
Do we have a category of Ugandans who cannot afford 10,000 shillings for a period of 1 year and a half?
It's surely a mindset thing.
Exactly. So sometimes it is just the attitude that people create money. The problem of Uganda is not money. The problem of Uganda are the values.
The personal or national values.
Personal, individual values.
So how can we do better?
How can we do better? Change our mindset. That is one thing. How can we change the mindset? Is learn. Because there is a dogma that we should relearn, learn, and unlearn.
Okay.
There are certain things that we need to unlearn. There are certain things that we need to relearn.
Yes.
And there are certain things that we need to learn. We learn what we don't know. We relearn what we had before and we had dropped it somewhere.
And it was
and
important.
We unlearn what is not needed at this particular time. I believe with that attitude, so many people will embrace and fall in love with this curriculum.
But like you said earlier, it's a process. It's going to be fast or slow.
And the unlearning cannot be determined in just a few minutes. It can be done over time. There's some people who learn easily, other people take long to learn. But at the end of the day, we are all going to learn. At a certain point.
Surely.
They are teachers or their parents or their other stakeholders and even the students that we have.
The other scholar says a revolution is slow or quick, but it must happen. So my next question regarding even the statistic we began with, which was more in favor of UPE and USE. Don't you think UPE and USE could have been a better attempt regarding the mindsets you have previously talked about?
Now, the intentions of the two programs are different.
Okay.
Because the intention of USE and UPE was to increase literacy and school enrollment, which was achieved.
Okay, literacy and enrollment.
Literacy and enrollment. There was a category of Ugandans who could not send their children to school. because of the mindset that they do not have
Money.
money.
Yes.
So UPE and USE have been a success, and they will continue being a success of the education ministry.
Okay.
Because there was an increased number. But the challenges of UPE and USE,
Yes.
they are the ones that we should find solution to.
Okay. Yes.
Because now
yes.
the enrollment increased, but at the same time there is a bigger rate of dropout.
Yes, yes. Because we saw that in 2005, about 7 million enrolled, but about 6 years, only 2 million were able to sit their primary living. So you have dropped about 5 million. To where?
The challenge of the high school dropout depends on where the children have dropped out. You realize that there is an issue of teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
Because it is not money. When you go out there in a few areas of the country, you find that some parents do not send their children to school because they just do not believe that school can be a solution to their children. So it takes me back to the mindset that is generally within the population. But as far as government is concerned, government has provided USE and UPE to these people. But we need to continue sensitizing the people to take their children to those schools.
Like we are doing now. Like we are doing
We
now.
need to sensitize them to take their children to school because an educated person is far better than a person who is not educated.
Someone will say in quotes.
Not in quotes, because there are some people who will put it in monetary terms. But it doesn't, like I say, the problem of Uganda is not the money. It is the mindset.
The money is available.
The money may not be available because it has never been available in any place in the world. There's no place where you go and you find money on the streets.
Sure, surely.
So even if money is still scarce, but when we change our mindset towards certain things,
it can be less scarce.
There are certain problems that don't need money to disappear. For example, why has several government programs, for example, Gonabagagawale, then there was Mioga, then there was the parish model. There were so many programs.
Buy Uganda,
Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. Why have they grown at
slow rate?
The slow rate? It's because government gets money and gives it to the people.
Okay.
But the mind is not getting power. So when they get the money, they marry another wife or something. And at the end of the day, where a person sells 5 acres of land to buy a boda, and in a few months it gets an accident, and all that money has been. So the problem is the mindset.
It speaks heavy. It speaks heavy. I have someone I follow, Dr. Rumide. He says, if your level is at 2 million and I give you 1 billion, you first spend it. When you reach at your 2 million level, you remember you had a billion.
The mindset.